The gunman's finger tightened on the trigger as screams filled the crowded plaza. Ethan Cole, mild-mannered father, keeper of routines, invisible in every room, moved before thought could catch up to instinct. Bodies hit the ground. Not from bullets. From him. In 7 seconds, he dismantled 3 armed men with movements so precise they looked choreographed. His daughter's lunchbox still swung from his shoulder. His wife, Claire Vaughn, CEO of a billion-dollar empire, watched her quiet husband become someone she'd never met. The man she'd shared a bed with for 5 years had just saved 43 people with skills that didn't belong in a civilian's body. As phones captured every brutal, efficient second, one question burned through the chaos. Who the hell did I marry? If you want to see how this story ends, stay with me until the final word. And when you're done, hit that like button and drop a comment telling me what city you're watching from. I want to see how far this story travels. The morning started the way it always did. Ethan Cole stood at the kitchen counter, cutting strawberries into perfect quarters for his daughter's lunch. The knife moved in steady rhythm, thunk, 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 against the wooden board, each slice identical to the last. Sunlight filtered through the window above the sink, catching the steam rising from his coffee. 6:15 a.m., same as yesterday, same as the day before. Daddy, can I have the dinosaur sandwich cutter today? He glanced over his shoulder. Maya sat at the kitchen table, 7 years old and already dressed for school, her dark hair pulled into a lopsided ponytail she'd insisted on doing herself. She wore mismatched socks, one with cats, one with rockets, and a shirt with a juice stain from 2 days ago that he'd missed in the laundry. Dinosaur cutters in the dishwasher, kiddo. How about hearts? Hearts are boring. Hearts are classic. She wrinkled her nose. That's what boring people say. Ethan smiled despite himself. Where'd you learn that? Mom. Of course. Claire's influence leaked into everything, even 7-year-old commentary. He returned to the strawberries, adding them to the small container beside carrot sticks and pretzels. The lunch had to be balanced, had to be enough. Maya was picky, and if she came home hungry, he'd failed at the one job that mattered. Footsteps on the stairs. Sharp, purposeful. Claire descended into the kitchen already fully assembled, tailored charcoal suit, hair pulled back in a sleek twist, heels that added 3 inches to her frame. She looked like she'd walked out of a boardroom, which made sense because in about 45 minutes, she would. Ethan, I need you to pick Maya up early today, 3:30. He didn't look up from the lunch assembly. I've got her at 4, same as always. Board meeting ran late, rescheduled for 4:15. Claire poured herself coffee, black, no sugar. Can you make it work? Yeah, I'll make it work. Thank you. She kissed the top of Maya's head without breaking stride toward the door. Be good for your father. I'm always good, Maya said. That's a lie, and we both know it. Claire's voice softened just slightly, the only crack in her armor. Then she was gone, the front door clicking shut with finality. Ethan packed the lunch into Maya's backpack, zipped it, double-checked the straps. Everything in order, everything controlled. His life had become a series of small, manageable tasks. Pick up, drop off, cook, clean, help with homework, repeat. It wasn't the life he'd imagined at 22, but it was the one he'd built, brick by careful brick, and he'd be damned if he let it fall apart. Can we go to the plaza after school? Maya asked. The one downtown? They have the good pretzels. The good pretzels are overpriced. But they're good. He sighed. We'll see. That means yes. That means we'll see. But she was right. It meant yes. It always meant yes. On. By 3:30, Ethan was parked outside Maya's school, engine idling, radio playing something forgettable. Parents lined up in their SUVs and sedans, a slow-moving parade of routine. He recognized most of them by now. The mom in the silver Honda who always arrived 10 minutes early, the dad in the pickup truck who never turned off his engine, the nanny in the black Lexus who scrolled through her phone until the last possible second. Maya appeared in a flood of kids, backpack bouncing against her shoulders, grin wide. She spotted the car and broke into a run, yanking open the back door and throwing herself inside. Pretzel time? Ethan met her eyes in the rearview mirror. You remembered. I always remember pretzels. Seatbelt first. She clicked it into place with exaggerated effort. Now can we go? Now we can go. Downtown was a 15-minute drive, traffic permitting. The plaza sat at the heart of the city, a wide-open space surrounded by shops, restaurants, and a fountain that Maya loved to throw pennies into. It wasn't practical, it wasn't quiet, but it made her happy, and that was enough. They parked in a garage 2 blocks away. Maya held his hand as they walked, chattering about something that had happened at recess involving a soccer ball and a kid named Ben, who apparently didn't understand the rules. Ethan listened with half his attention, the other half cataloging his surroundings the way he always did. Exits, crowds, patterns. Old habits didn't die. They just learned to stay quiet. The plaza was busy. Families, couples, tourists with cameras. A street musician played guitar near the fountain, his case open for tips. The pretzel stand stood in its usual spot, the smell of salt and butter drifting across the space. "Can I get cinnamon sugar?" Maya asked. "You can get whatever you want." Her face lit up. "Really?" "Within reason." "That's less fun." He bought her the cinnamon sugar pretzel and a regular one for himself. They sat on a bench near the fountain, Maya swinging her legs, crumbs falling onto her shirt. Ethan took a bite of his pretzel and immediately regretted it, overpriced and underwhelming, but Maya was happy, and that was the point. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "Do you think Mom likes her job?" The question caught him off guard. "Why do you ask?" Maya shrugged. "She's always working. Even when she's home, she's on her computer." Ethan chose his words carefully. "Your mom works hard because she's good at what she does, and because she wants to make sure we have everything we need. But does she like it?" Honest answer? He didn't know. Claire didn't talk about work in terms of enjoyment. She talked about strategies, acquisitions, quarterly projections. She talked about winning. Whether she liked it was a question he'd stopped asking years ago. "I think she does," he said finally. In her own way, Maya seemed to accept this. She finished her pretzel, wiped her hands on her jeans, and hopped off the bench. "Can I throw a penny in the fountain?" "Sure." He handed her a penny from his pocket. She ran to the fountain's edge, closed her eyes, whispered something he couldn't hear, and tossed it in. The penny disappeared into the water with a soft plink. That's when Ethan noticed the man, 30 feet away. Black jacket, hands in his pockets, standing too still in a crowd that never stopped moving. Ethan's gaze swept past him, then back. The man wasn't looking at the fountain, wasn't looking at the shops. He was scanning, methodical, deliberate. Ethan's pulse didn't spike, it steadied. Muscle memory older than his marriage, older than fatherhood, older than the quiet life he'd built. He stood slowly, positioning himself between Maya and the man in the black jacket. "Maya, come here." She skipped back toward him. "What?" "Stay close." "Why?" "Just do it." The man's hand came out of his pocket. Not empty. Ethan saw the gun before anyone else did. Compact, semi-automatic. The man raised it toward the crowd, and time fractured into something thin and breakable. Ethan moved. He didn't think. Didn't plan. His body acted on instincts buried so deep they didn't need permission. He shoved Maya behind the bench, his hand already reaching for the man's wrist as the first shot cracked through the air. The bullet went high, harmless, into the sky. Ethan twisted the man's arm back, hyperextending the elbow, and the gun clattered to the pavement. Screams erupted. People scattered. Ethan didn't hear them. The man in the black jacket wasn't alone. 2 more emerged from the crowd, both armed. Ethan saw them, calculated angles, assessed threats. His hand shot out, catching the second man's throat, collapsing his windpipe. The man dropped, choking. The third raised his weapon. Ethan closed the distance in 3 steps, redirected the barrel, drove his knee into the man's ribs. Bone cracked. The gun fell. Ethan kicked it away, already turning back to the first man who'd recovered enough to lunge. Mistake! Ethan sidestepped, caught the man's momentum, and used it to drive him face first into the concrete. The sound was ugly. Final. The man didn't get back up. 7 seconds. 3 armed men. Neutralized. Ethan stood in the center of the plaza, breathing steady, adrenaline singing through his veins like a song he'd forgotten he knew. His hands weren't shaking. His heart wasn't racing. He was calm. Then he remembered. Maya. He turned. She was still behind the bench, eyes wide, face pale, unharmed. He moved toward her and she flinched. That flinch hit harder than any bullet. "It's okay," he said, voice low. "It's over." She didn't respond, just stared at him like he was a stranger. Around them, the plaza was chaos. People shouting, crying, calling 911. Phones were out, dozens of them, all pointed at him, recording, capturing every brutal, efficient second. Ethan's stomach dropped. He'd just made a mistake that couldn't be undone. The police arrived in minutes. Paramedics followed. Ethan stood off to the side, Maya clutching his hand, while officers secured the scene. Witnesses gave statements. The three men were cuffed, checked for injuries, loaded into ambulances under armed guard. One of them, the first one, was still unconscious. A detective approached, mid-40s, graying hair, sharp eyes. "Mr. Cole?" "Yeah." "Detective Rains, I need to ask you a few questions." Ethan nodded. Maya pressed closer to his side. "Where'd you learn to fight like that?" Ethan had prepared for this question his entire adult life. He'd rehearsed the answer so many times it felt like truth. Self-defense classes. Long time ago. Rains didn't look convinced. That wasn't self-defense. That was tactical disarmament. Military grade. "I watch a lot of YouTube." "YouTube?" "Yeah." Rains studied him for a long moment. Then he pulled out a card, handed it over. "We'll need a formal statement. Come by the station tomorrow." "And Mr. Cole? You might want to get ahead of this." "Ahead of what?" Rains gestured to the crowd. Half of them were still filming. "This is going viral in about 10 minutes. Whatever you're trying to keep quiet, it won't stay that way." Ethan looked down at Maya. She was watching him, waiting for reassurance he didn't know how to give. "Can I take my daughter home?" "Yeah, but don't leave town." As if he had anywhere to go. By the time they reached the car, Ethan's phone was ringing. "Claire." He answered. "Are you okay?" Her voice was tight, controlled, but underneath it, he heard fear. "We're fine." "I saw the video." Of course she had. The whole world had by now. "Ethan, what the hell was that?" "I'll explain when I get home." "You'll explain now." He glanced at Maya in the rearview mirror. She was staring out the window, silent. "Not over the phone." Claire exhaled sharply. "Fine. Get home. We need to talk." She hung up. Ethan drove in silence. His hands were steady on the wheel. His breathing was even. But inside, something was cracking. The life he'd built, one careful, quiet day at a time, was collapsing, and there was nothing he could do to stop it. Claire was pacing when they walked in. She stopped mid-stride, eyes locking onto Ethan with an intensity that would have made most men step back. He didn't. "Maya, go to your room." "But now." Maya looked at Ethan. He nodded. She disappeared upstairs without another word. The moment her door closed, Claire turned on him. "Who are you?" "Claire, don't." She held up a hand. "I've seen the video 20 times. I've watched you disarm 3 men like it was nothing, like you'd done it 1,000 times before. So I'm asking you again, who are you?" Ethan set his keys on the counter, took a breath, let it out. "I used to be someone else." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I've got right now." Her jaw tightened. "You've been lying to me. I've been protecting you." "From what?" "From this." He gestured vaguely at the world beyond their walls. "From everything I left behind." Claire stared at him, and for the first time since he'd known her, she looked lost. "I don't even know where to start." "Then don't. Not tonight." "Ethan, please." His voice cracked just slightly. "Give me one night. Let me figure out how to say this without destroying everything." She wanted to push. He could see it in her eyes. But something stopped her. Maybe exhaustion. Maybe fear. Maybe the recognition that whatever came next would change them forever. "One night," she said finally, "but tomorrow, I want the truth. All of it." "Okay." She turned and walked upstairs, leaving him alone in the kitchen. Ethan stood there, listening to the house settle around him. Upstairs, a door closed. Water ran through pipes. Normal sounds. A normal night. Except nothing was normal anymore. He pulled out his phone. The video had been shared thousands of times already. Comments poured in. Who is this guy? Former military? CIA? That was insane. Some called him a hero, others called him dangerous. All of them wanted answers. Ethan deleted the app. It wouldn't help. The damage was done. He climbed the stairs slowly, each step heavier than the last. Maya's door was cracked open. He pushed it wider. She was in bed, blankets pulled up to her chin, eyes open. "Hey, kiddo. Are you in trouble?" He sat on the edge of her bed. "No." "Are we in trouble?" Harder question. "I don't know yet." She was quiet for a moment, then, "You were really fast." "Yeah." Scary fast. He reached out, brushed hair away from her forehead. "I'm still your dad. That hasn't changed. But you're different." "Everyone's a little different than they seem." She thought about this. "Mom says you used to work in security." "I did." "Is that where you learned to do that?" "Something like that." Another silence. Then, "I'm glad you were there." His chest tightened. "Me too." She rolled onto her side, eyes already drooping. "Night, Dad." "Night, Maya." He stayed until her breathing evened out, then slipped into the hallway. Claire's office light was on. He didn't knock, didn't interrupt, just went to their bedroom, sat on the edge of the bed, and stared at his hands. These hands had built sandwiches and tied shoelaces and pushed swings. But before that, they'd done other things, darker things, things he'd spent a decade trying to forget. His phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Saw the video. Didn't think you still had it in you. We need to talk." Ethan stared at the message. He didn't recognize the number, but he recognized the tone. Someone from before had found him. He deleted the text, turned off his phone, lay back on the bed and closed his eyes. Tomorrow, he'd tell Claire the truth. Tonight, he'd let himself pretend, for just a few more hours, that the quiet life he'd built wasn't already gone. Morning came too fast. Ethan woke to an empty bed. Claire's side was cold. He checked his phone, 6:30. She was already up. Probably had been for hours. He found her in the kitchen, laptop open, coffee untouched. She looked up when he entered. "It's everywhere." He didn't need to ask what she meant. "I know." "The company's getting calls, investors, press. Everyone wants to know if I'm married to some kind of, I don't even know what to call it." "Claire," 3 different news outlets requested interviews. "With me. About you." She closed the laptop. "This is going to affect my business." "I'm sorry." "Sorry doesn't fix this." She stood, arms crossed. "You promised me the truth, so start talking." Ethan poured himself coffee he didn't want, just to buy time. Then he turned to face her. "I was Special Operations, Tier 1, the kind of unit that doesn't officially exist." Claire's expression didn't change. "For how long?" 8 years. "And you never thought to mention this?" "It wasn't part of my life anymore." "Clearly it was." She gestured toward the window, toward the world that was dissecting him online. "You don't just forget training like that. You'd be surprised what you can bury when you try hard enough." "Why'd you leave?" That was the question he'd been dreading. "Because I was good at it, too good. And that scared me more than anything I faced in the field." She absorbed this. "What did you do, specifically?" "Things I can't talk about. Not because they're classified, though they are, but because I don't want you looking at me the way Maya looked at me yesterday." "She's 7. I'm not." "Doesn't matter. Some things, once you know them, you can't unknow." Claire moved closer. "I've built a company from nothing. I've fought hostile takeovers, corporate espionage, boardroom wars that would break most people. I'm not fragile, Ethan. Don't treat me like I am." He met her gaze, saw the steel there, the determination. She wasn't backing down. "I killed people," he said quietly. "Not in combat, not in self-defense. I killed people because I was ordered to, because they were threats to national security, because someone in an office thousands of miles away decided they needed to disappear." "How many?" "I stopped counting." Silence stretched between them. "Did you enjoy it?" she asked finally. "No, but I was good at it, and for a long time that felt like the same thing." Claire exhaled slowly. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I wanted to be someone else, someone normal, someone who didn't have blood on his hands." He set the coffee down. I wanted to be the man you thought I was. I married you, Ethan. Whoever you were, whoever you are. But I can't do that if you're lying to me. I wasn't lying. I was leaving it behind. Well, it's not behind you anymore. She opened her laptop again. This is going to get worse before it gets better. We need a strategy. A strategy. Yes. How we handle the press. How we handle the questions. How we protect Maya from this. He almost laughed. You're already 3 steps ahead. That's what I do. She looked at him. The question is, are you ready to do this with me? Or are you going to keep hiding? Ethan thought about the text from last night, the unknown number, the implication that his past wasn't just public, it was active. I'm not hiding, he said, but there's more coming. I can feel it. Then we deal with it, together. He wanted to believe her, wanted to believe they could weather this like any other storm, but Claire didn't understand. She'd fought corporate battles. This was different. This was war. And war didn't care about strategy. The detective's office smelled like stale coffee and old paperwork. Ethan sat across from Rains, Maya in the waiting room with a victim advocate who'd given her coloring books and juice. Let's try this again, Rains said. Where'd you serve? I didn't. Mr. Cole, I've seen combat footage. I know what military training looks like. You moved like someone with serious operational experience. I told you, self-defense classes. Rains leaned back. You're protecting something. I get it. But those men you took down, they're part of something bigger. We found communications on their phones, encrypted, professional grade. Whoever sent them knew what they were doing. Ethan's blood went cold. They were targeting someone? We think so, but they're not talking. Rains tapped a pen against his desk. Here's what I know. You're not a random dad who got lucky. You're trained, highly, and now you're on someone's radar. Whose? That's what I'm trying to figure out. He slid a folder across the desk. Recognize any of these names? Ethan opened it. 3 profiles, the men from the plaza, but underneath more names, organizations, patterns. He recognized 2 of them. Mr. Cole? Ethan closed the folder. No. You're lying. I'm protecting my family. Then help me help you. Tell me what you know. Ethan stood. Am I free to go? Rains sighed. Yeah, but you're making a mistake. Wouldn't be my first. He collected Maya from the waiting room. She was quiet on the drive home, crayon drawings clutched in her small hands. Ethan kept checking the mirrors, old habits, looking for tales, for threats. Nothing. But that didn't mean they weren't there. Bum. When they got home, Claire was on the phone. She hung up when she saw them. We need to talk. Again? The board wants a statement about you, about us. They're worried this will affect the company's image. Ethan set his keys down. What did you tell them? That I'd handle it. Claire, I'm not letting them dictate how I manage my personal life. Her voice was firm. But we do need to get ahead of this, together. He looked at her, really looked at her. The woman he'd married because she was strong and brilliant and didn't need him to be anything other than present. She'd never asked for this, never signed up for a life where her husband's past could destroy everything she'd built. I'll do whatever you need, he said. I need honesty, and I need you to trust me. I do. Then prove it. No more secrets. He nodded. But even as he agreed, Ethan knew there were some secrets that couldn't be shared, some truths that were too dangerous to speak aloud. Because the men from the plaza weren't random. They were a message, and whoever sent them was just getting started. The statement went live at noon. Claire had drafted it herself, reviewed it with her legal team 3 times, and delivered it with the kind of controlled precision that had built her empire. Ethan watched from the living room as she stood in front of cameras outside their home, microphones thrust toward her like weapons. My husband acted to protect innocent lives, she said, voice steady. He's a father, a good man, and I'm proud of what he did. That's all we'll be saying on the matter. Questions erupted. She ignored them, turned, and walked back inside. The door closed. She leaned against it, exhaling hard. How'd I do? You made it sound simple, Ethan said. It should be simple. You stopped bad people. End of story. Except it's not. She looked at him. I know. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it, frowned. The board wants an emergency meeting. When? An hour. She grabbed her bag, checked her reflection in the hallway mirror, smoothed her suit. I'll handle them. Claire, maybe you should… What? Step back? Let them think this affects my judgment? She turned to face him. I've spent 10 years building Vaughn Industries from a mid-sized firm into a powerhouse. I'm not letting your past destroy that. The words landed harder than she probably intended. I didn't mean it like that, she added quickly. Yeah, you did. Ethan, it's fine. You're right. This is on me. He picked up his keys. I'll get Maya from school. You do what you need to do. She hesitated, then nodded. We'll talk tonight. Sure. She left. The house felt emptier than it should have. Ethan stood in the kitchen, staring at the remnants of breakfast neither of them had finished. Toast gone cold, coffee congealing in mugs. Everything normal until it wasn't. His phone buzzed. Another unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Yeah? Ethan Cole. The voice was male, rough, familiar in a way that made his stomach tighten. Didn't think I'd see you on the news. Ethan's hand went still. Who is this? You don't remember? I'm hurt. A low chuckle. Then again, you worked with a lot of people. Hard to keep track. I'm hanging up. Marcus Holt sends his regards. Ethan's blood turned to ice. Marcus Holt. Field commander. The kind of operator who saw missions as opportunities and collateral damage as acceptable losses. They'd worked together once, briefly, long enough for Ethan to realize Holt was the kind of man who'd burn the world if it advanced his agenda. Holt's dead, Ethan said. Is he? The voice sounded amused. Funny, because I just had breakfast with him. What do you want? To remind you that going public has consequences. You had a nice, quiet life, past tense. I didn't go public. I stopped 3 men from killing people. Semantics. Point is, you're visible now, and visibility attracts attention. From who? People who remember what you did, people who hold grudges, people who see opportunity. A pause. Sleep tight, Cole. You're going to need it. The line went dead. Ethan stood frozen, phone pressed to his ear, listening to empty air. Marcus Holt. Alive. And apparently aware of exactly where Ethan was. He dialed a number he hadn't called in 8 years. It rang 4 times before a woman answered. Ryland. It's Cole. Silence. Then, Jesus Christ, I thought you were dead. Not yet. What do you want? Information. Marcus Holt. Is he active? Another pause, longer this time. Where are you calling from? Does it matter? Yeah, it does. Burn the phone when we're done. That wasn't reassuring. Holt went off-grid 3 years ago, Ryland said. Officially listed as KYA during an operation in Yemen. Unofficially, he's been running freelance black ops for whoever pays. Who's paying now? I don't know. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you over an unsecured line. Her voice softened slightly. Ethan, you need to disappear. If Holt knows where you are, I can't disappear. I have a family. Then get them somewhere safe, because whatever's coming, it won't be subtle. She hung up. Ethan stared at the phone. Then he pulled the battery, snapped the SIM card in half, and threw both pieces in separate trash bins. He needed to think, needed to plan. But first, he needed to get Maya. The school pickup line was the same chaotic shuffle it always was. Parents in expensive cars, nannies scrolling phones, kids spilling out of doors in waves of noise and motion. Ethan parked, engine running, eyes scanning every face, every vehicle. Nothing suspicious. Just normal people living normal lives. Maya appeared, backpack dragging behind her. She climbed into the car without her usual energy. How was school? Fine. Just fine? She shrugged. He pulled out of the lot. Something happened? Kids were asking about the video. His chest tightened. What'd they say? That you're famous, that you beat up bad guys. She stared out the window. Ben said his dad thinks you're a spy. I'm not a spy. Then what are you? Ethan gripped the wheel. Someone who used to have a different job. Doing what? Keeping people safe. Like a superhero? He almost laughed. No, nothing like that. They drove in silence for a while. Then Maya asked, "Are the bad guys going to come back?" Honest answer, probably. "No," he said. "They're not." She didn't look convinced. When they got home, Ethan locked every door, checked every window. The house had an alarm system Claire had insisted on when they moved in. He'd thought it was overkill. Now he was grateful. He set Maya up with homework at the kitchen table and pulled out his laptop, started digging. Marcus Holt had been declared dead, but death was negotiable in their line of work. If Holt was alive, there'd be traces, patterns, mistakes. An hour passed. Then 2. Maya finished her homework, asked for a snack, got lost in a book. Ethan barely noticed. Then his phone rang. His current phone. The one only a handful of people had the number to. Claire. "Hey, we have a problem." Her voice was tight. "What kind?" "Someone leaked internal communications, emails, strategy memos, things that should be locked down." She sounded furious. "The board thinks it's connected to you, to the attention you're bringing. That's impossible." "Is it? Because the timing's suspicious. You go viral and suddenly my company's bleeding information." "Claire, I didn't, but—" "I know you didn't, but someone's using this as an opportunity." She exhaled sharply. "I have to stay late. There's damage control to manage. Can you handle Maya tonight?" "Yeah, of course." "Thank you." A pause. "Ethan, if there's anything else I need to know, anything that could affect the company, tell me now." He thought about Holt, about the phone call, about the possibility that this was bigger than a coincidence. "Nothing I can prove yet." "That's not a no. I'm working on it." "Work faster." She hung up. Ethan set the phone down, stared at his computer screen. The pieces were starting to connect in ways he didn't like. The Plaza attack, the leaked communications, Holt's reappearance. None of it was random. Someone was orchestrating this. His laptop pinged. New email from an address he didn't recognize. Subject line, "You should have stayed hidden." He opened it. Inside was a single photo, taken today, outside Maya's school. The timestamp was from this afternoon, right before pickup. Ethan's vision tunneled. Someone had been watching, had been close enough to photograph his daughter. The message was clear. "We can reach you anytime." He deleted the email, cleared the cache, ran a security scan. Then he walked to the kitchen, pulled Maya close, and held her tighter than he probably should have. "Dad, you're squishing me." "Sorry." He let go. "Just needed a hug." She gave him a suspicious look but didn't argue. That night, after Maya was asleep, Ethan sat in the dark living room with a baseball bat across his lap. Not much of a weapon, but it was something. The house creaked, pipes settled, the refrigerator hummed. Normal sounds. He stayed awake anyway. Claire came home just after midnight. She looked exhausted. "Any progress?" he asked. "Some. We identified the leak's source. Someone in IT. She dropped her bag by the door. "They're fired, but the damage is done." "How bad?" "Bad enough that our competitors smell blood." She sat beside him on the couch, noticed the bat. "Expecting trouble?" "Just cautious." She studied him. "You're scared." "Yeah. That makes 2 of us." She leaned against him, head on his shoulder. "I don't know how to fight an enemy I can't see." "You do what you always do. You adapt." "That's not an answer." "It's the only one I've got." They sat in silence. Then Claire said, "If this gets worse, if it threatens Maya, we run. I don't care about the company. I don't care about my reputation. We protect her first." "Agreed." "Good." She stood, headed toward the stairs, then stopped. "Ethan?" "Yeah?" "Whatever you're planning, I want in." "Claire, I mean it. You don't get to handle this alone." He wanted to argue, wanted to protect her from what was coming, but she was right. They were in this together. "Okay," he said. "Tomorrow, we make a plan." She nodded and went upstairs. Ethan stayed on the couch, bat across his lap, waiting for dawn. The next day started with a phone call from Detective Raines. "We need to talk. In person." Ethan met him at a coffee shop downtown. Rains looked like he hadn't slept much either. The men from the plaza are talking, Rains said without preamble. Not a lot, but enough. What'd they say? That they were hired, paid to cause chaos, create a scene. He stirred his coffee. They didn't know who hired them. Communication was all digital, anonymous. So a dead end. Not quite. We traced the payment, offshore accounts, layered, professional. Rains leaned forward. Whoever's behind this has resources, and they wanted you to act. Ethan's blood ran cold. They set me up. Looks that way. Create a situation where you'd have to reveal your skills, get you on camera, make you visible. Why? That's what I'm asking you. Ethan thought about Holt, about the email, about the photo of Maya. I have enemies, he said carefully. From before. Before what? Before I became a civilian. Rains absorbed this. How dangerous are these enemies? Dangerous enough to do this? Then you need protection. Witness protection, maybe. Relocation. I'm not running. Mr. Cole, I have a family, a life. I'm not abandoning that. Rains sighed. Then at least let us put a detail on your house, someone watching. Ethan considered it, rejected it. That'll just make them a target too. You're not giving me a lot of options here. I know. Ethan stood. But this is my problem. I'll handle it. That's what I'm afraid of. Ethan left before Rains could argue further. He drove aimlessly for a while, thinking. Holt wouldn't move directly. Too obvious. He'd create pressure, squeeze from multiple angles, force mistakes. The corporate leak was one angle. The plaza attack was another. What else? His phone buzzed. Claire. Turn on the news. Why? Just do it. He pulled into a parking lot, opened a news app. The headline made his stomach drop. CEO Claire Vaughn, under investigation for financial irregularities. He called her back. What the hell is this? I don't know. She sounded shaken. The SEC showed up an hour ago. They have documents, transactions I've never seen. They're saying I've been laundering money. That's insane. I know, but the evidence looks real. Someone fabricated this, planted it. Ethan's mind raced. This is connected. It has to be. To what? To everything. The attack, the leak. Now this. Someone's trying to destroy us piece by piece. Claire was silent for a moment. Then, what do we do? We fight back. How? I'll figure it out. Just hold them off as long as you can. Ethan, trust me. He hung up before she could respond. Ethan sat in the car, staring at the steering wheel. Holt was escalating, creating chaos on multiple fronts. Corporate sabotage, legal pressure, public scrutiny, all designed to isolate, overwhelm, break. But Holt had made one mistake. He'd assumed Ethan would react defensively, play victim, hunker down. He was wrong. Ethan pulled out a burner phone he'd bought that morning, dialed another old number. Yeah? The voice was wary. I need a favor. Who is this? Ghost. Silence. Then, Ghost is dead. Apparently not. Jesus, what do you want? Information on Marcus Holt. Current location. Known associates. Operational patterns. That's not a small ask. I know. What's in it for me? I don't kill you when this is over. A laugh. Nervous. Same old Ghost. Give me 48 hours. You have 24. Ethan hung up. The name Ghost tasted bitter. It belonged to a version of himself he'd buried. But if Holt wanted a war, Ethan would give him one. He drove to a storage unit on the edge of town, one he'd rented under a false name years ago. Insurance. Just in case. The unit was small, nondescript. Inside was a duffel bag. He unzipped it. Body armor, tactical gear. Weapons he'd kept off the books. Tools he'd hoped never to use again. He stared at them for a long moment. Then he packed everything into his trunk and drove home. Maya was at a friend's house, playdate arranged by Claire to keep her out of the chaos. Ethan was grateful. He didn't want her to see what came next. He spread the gear across the dining room table, checked each piece methodically. The muscle memory was still there, buried under years of normalcy. Claire came home while he was field stripping a handgun. She stopped in the doorway, stared. What is that? Preparation. For what? For when they come here. Her face went pale. You think they will? I know they will. He reassembled the weapon smooth and fast. Holt doesn't do half measures. He'll push until something breaks. Then we call the police. The police can't help with this. Ethan, Claire, listen to me. He set the gun down, turned to face her. This isn't corporate espionage. This isn't a legal battle. This is someone trying to destroy everything we have because I exist, and the only way to stop it is to remove the threat. You're talking about killing someone. I'm talking about protecting my family. She stared at him. This is who you were. Yeah. The man who killed people because it was his job. Yeah. And you think that's the answer now? I think it's the only answer that works. Claire crossed her arms. I didn't marry a killer. The words hit like a punch. No, Ethan said quietly. You married someone pretending not to be one. She flinched. I'm sorry, he added, but I can't pretend anymore. Not if it means losing you, losing Maya. Claire looked at the weapons on the table, at him, at the life they'd built crumbling around them. If you do this, she said slowly, there's no going back. I know. We'll be different people. We already are. She closed her eyes. When she opened them, something had shifted. Resolve, maybe. Or resignation. Then do what you have to do, she said. But don't shut me out. If we're doing this, we're doing it together. Claire, I mean it. You don't get to play hero and leave me in the dark. He nodded. Okay. She glanced at the gear. What do you need from me? Access to your company's security systems, personnel files, anything that might tell us who the inside man is. You think someone in my company is working with Holt? I think Holt doesn't operate without intelligence. Someone's feeding him information. We find them, we find him. Claire pulled out her phone. I'll get you access. But Ethan, if we're wrong, if we accuse the wrong person, it could destroy what's left of the company. Then we won't be wrong. She started typing. Ethan returned to the weapons, his hands moving through routines he'd practiced 10,000 times. An hour later, Claire had pulled files on every employee with access to sensitive information. 23 people. Ethan narrowed it down based on hiring dates, access patterns, behavioral red flags. 3 names stood out. This one, he said, pointing to a profile. Thomas Keene, IT specialist. Hired 6 months ago. Previous employment history is thin. Claire frowned. He came highly recommended. By who? She checked. External recruiter, vetting firm we've used before. Can you get me his home address? Ethan, what are you going to do? Talk to him. That's not talking gear. She gestured to the weapons. Insurance. She didn't look convinced but gave him the address anyway. Ethan left just before sunset. The drive took 30 minutes. Keene lived in a modest apartment complex, nothing flashy. Ethan parked down the street, watched the building, lights on in a third-floor window, movement inside. He approached carefully, hand near the concealed weapon at his back. Knocked. Footsteps. The door opened a crack. Keene was younger than his photo suggested. Late 20s, nervous eyes. Yeah? Thomas Keene? Who's asking? Ethan smiled. Friendly, non-threatening. Ethan Cole. I'm married to Claire Vaughn. Keene's face went white. He tried to close the door. Ethan's boot stopped it. We need to talk. I don't know anything. That's not what your bank account says. Keene froze. Ethan pushed the door open, stepped inside. The apartment was sparse. Laptop on a desk, takeout containers everywhere. No personal touches. Who paid you? Ethan asked. I don't... Ethan pulled the gun, not pointing it, just holding it. Let's try again. Who paid you to leak information? Keene's hands went up. I don't know. I swear it was all online, anonymous transfers. I just sent files and got paid. What files? Strategy memos, financials, employee records. He was shaking. They said it was for competitive analysis, corporate espionage, nothing violent. Did they mention my name? No, I swear. Ethan studied him. Keene was scared, genuinely. Not a hardened operative, just a kid in over his head. You're going to help me, Ethan said. How? You're going to contact whoever hired you, tell them you have more information, set up a meeting. They'll kill me. Not if I'm there first. Keene looked like he might pass out. You do this, Ethan continued, and I make sure nothing happens to you. You don't, and I let Claire's lawyers bury you. Your choice. Keene swallowed hard. Okay, I'll do it. Good. Contact them tonight. Tell them you have documents that prove the SEC investigation is fabricated, something valuable. And if they don't bite, they will. They need to know what we know. Ethan left Keene with instructions and a burner phone, drove home feeling like he'd just crossed a line he'd sworn never to cross again. Claire was waiting. Did you find him? Yeah. And? He's going to help us. She searched his face. What did you do? What I had to. She didn't press. Maybe she didn't want to know. That night, Ethan slept in 2-hour shifts. Old habit. Stay alert. Stay ready. The house was quiet, but his mind wasn't. At 3 a.m., the burner phone buzzed. Text from Keene. They responded. Meeting set for tomorrow night. Warehouse District, 10 p.m. Ethan typed back. Address? Keene sent it. Ethan stared at the location. Isolated, industrial, perfect for an ambush, which meant it was perfect for him too. He spent the next day preparing, scouting the location, identifying entry points, cover, sight lines. The warehouse was abandoned, surrounded by empty lots, no witnesses, no collateral. Claire tried to talk him out of it. This is insane. You're walking into a trap. I know. Then why are you doing it? Because if I don't, they'll keep coming. For you, for Maya. This ends tomorrow night. What if it ends with you dead? Then you take Maya and run. Change your names. Disappear. She grabbed his arm. I'm not losing you. You won't. You can't promise that. He pulled her close. I've done this before. I know what I'm doing. That's what scares me. He kissed her forehead. Trust me. She didn't answer. The next night, Ethan geared up, body armor under a jacket, weapons concealed, comms unit in his ear connected to a recorder in his car. He told Claire to stay home. Lock the doors. Don't answer for anyone. If I'm not back by midnight, he said, call Rains. Tell him everything. Ethan, promise me. I promise. He left before she could say anything else. The warehouse loomed in the darkness, skeletal and silent. Ethan parked 2 blocks away, approached on foot. His breath misted in the cold air. Every sense heightened. The side door was unlocked. Intentional. They wanted him inside. He entered, weapon drawn, clearing corners methodically. The space was vast. Concrete floors, rusted machinery, shadows everywhere. A voice echoed from the darkness. Ethan Cole. Or should I say ghost? Ethan didn't answer, kept moving, searching for the source. You've caused quite a stir, the voice continued. Going viral. Very sloppy. Show yourself, Holt. A laugh. Holt's not here, but he sends his regards. A figure stepped into a shaft of moonlight. Not Holt. Someone younger, military-bearing, confident. Who are you? Ethan asked. Someone who remembers what you did in Kabul, in Damascus, in places that don't officially exist. The man smiled. You were good, maybe the best, but you got soft. I got smart. Same thing in our line of work. Ethan kept his weapon trained. What do you want? Nothing. This isn't about wants. It's about debts. You left people behind, operations unfinished, enemies alive. The man shrugged. Holt's just collecting. Where is he? Close. Watching. Waiting to see if you've still got it. Movement. Behind him. Ethan spun, fired twice. A body dropped. More movement. Left. Right. They were everywhere. Ethan moved on instinct, taking cover, returning fire. The training flooded back, pure and lethal. He dropped 2 more, injured a 4th, but there were too many. A bullet grazed his shoulder. Another shattered concrete near his head. He retreated deeper into the warehouse, looking for an exit. Then the lights came on. Blinding, disorienting, and standing in the center of the space was Marcus Holt. older, scarred, smiling like a predator. "Hello, Ghost," Holt said. "Miss me?" Ethan's weapon stayed trained on Holt, finger resting on the trigger guard. The lights above buzzed and flickered, casting harsh shadows across the warehouse floor. Bodies sprawled where they'd fallen, 3 men down, maybe 4. He'd lost count. "You look good for a dead man," Ethan said. Holt spread his arms wide, theatrically. "Turns out dying's easier than you'd think. Paperwork. A cooperative bureaucrat. Few $1,000s in the right hands." He lowered his arms, smile fading. "You should have tried it instead of playing house." "I like my life." "Past tense, Ghost. That life's over." Holt stepped closer. His men flanked him, weapons raised but not aimed, waiting. "The moment you showed your face on camera, you became a liability to people who matter." "What people?" "The ones who paid us. The ones we worked for." Holt's expression darkened. "You think our operations just disappeared? That the networks we built, the enemies we made, just evaporated because you walked away?" Ethan shifted his weight, calculating distances, exits. "I fulfilled my contract." "You fulfilled Jack. You left in the middle of Damascus, target still breathing, mission incomplete." "That target was a 14-year-old kid. That target," Holt said slowly, "was a courier for an organization that killed 200 civilians in a market bombing. You had orders. Orders I didn't follow." "Exactly. And that decision, that moral crisis you had, it cost lives, real lives, operators who depended on that intelligence network getting dismantled." Holt's jaw tightened. 3 of my people died cleaning up your mess." Ethan's grip on the weapon didn't waver, but something cold settled in his chest. He remembered Damascus, remembered the kid. Couldn't have been older than Maya was now. Holding a phone, just a phone. The order had been clear: eliminate the courier, secure the intelligence, complete the mission. He'd put the rifle down instead. "That's what this is about?" Ethan asked. "Revenge? This is about accountability. You don't get to walk away from what we did, from who we were." Holt's smile returned, sharp and ugly. "So I'm giving you a choice. Come back. Work with me. Or I dismantle everything you've built piece by piece. Your wife's company, your daughter's safety, your illusion of normalcy. That's not a choice. Sure it is. Option A, you embrace what you are. Option B, you watch everyone you love suffer." Holt pulled out a phone, tapped the screen, held it up. The image made Ethan's blood freeze. Maya. In their backyard. Taken this afternoon, swinging on the playset Claire had installed last summer, completely unaware someone was watching. "You go near her." "I won't have to. You'll do it yourself." Holt pocketed the phone. "Every second you stay in their lives, you paint a target on them. You know this. You've always known this." Ethan's finger moved closer to the trigger. "I could end this right now. You could try." Holt gestured to his men. "But you won't make it out. And then what? Claire and Maya are still exposed, still vulnerable. At least if you're alive, you can protect them." He paused. "Or you can join me. Help me finish what we started. And I guarantee your family stays safe, untouched, off limits." "Your guarantees don't mean anything. They mean more than whatever fantasy you've been living." Holt's expression hardened. "You're not a dad, Ghost. You're not a husband. You're a weapon someone tried to retire before its shelf life expired. But you don't expire. You don't get to pretend." The words cut deeper than Ethan wanted to admit. Because part of him, the part that had moved without thinking in that plaza, that had neutralized 3 armed men in 7 seconds, knew Holt wasn't completely wrong. "I need time," Ethan said. "You have 48 hours. After that, I move on your family. How do I contact you?" Holt smiled. "You don't. I'll find you." He turned, started walking toward a back exit. His men followed, weapons still trained on Ethan, until they disappeared into the darkness. Ethan stood alone in the warehouse, surrounded by bodies and blood, and the wreckage of a life he'd tried to leave behind. His shoulder throbbed where the bullet had grazed him. Adrenaline was fading, leaving exhaustion in its wake. He needed to move, needed to get out before someone called the police. But his legs felt heavy, cemented to the floor. The recording device in his car had captured everything. Holt's threats, his confession. Maybe it would be enough for Rains. Maybe the law could handle this. But Ethan knew better. Men like Holt didn't get stopped by courtrooms and evidence. They got stopped by people willing to do what courts wouldn't. He left through the side door, moving quickly through the empty lot, got to his car, started the engine, drove 3 blocks before pulling over to check his shoulder. The wound was superficial, through and through graze, painful but manageable. He used a first aid kit from his trunk to clean and bandage it, working mechanically. His phone buzzed. Claire. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. You sound like you're lying. I'm coming home. Ethan, what happened? He closed his eyes. We need to talk, face to face. She was waiting at the door when he pulled into the driveway. The house was dark except for the porch light. Maya's window was dark too. Asleep. Safe. For now. Claire's eyes went to his shoulder the moment he stepped inside. You're bleeding. It's nothing. That's not nothing. She pulled him toward the kitchen, flipped on the light. Sit. He sat. She peeled back the bandage he'd applied, examined the wound with the same clinical focus she brought to boardroom negotiations. This needs stitches. It'll heal. Not properly. She grabbed her phone. Claire, don't. I'm calling our doctor. He does house calls. We can't involve anyone else. You're bleeding in my kitchen. We're involving someone. Her voice cracked slightly. I can't do this if you die on me. He caught her hand. I'm not going to die. You don't know that. I do. Because I've been here before, done worse, survived. She pulled her hand away, made the call. The doctor agreed to come over, no questions asked. Money bought discretion. While they waited, Ethan told her everything. Holt, the ultimatum, the photo of Maya. Claire listened without interrupting, her face growing paler with each detail. So we have 2 days, she said when he finished. Yeah. To do what? Disappear? Or I go back? Her head snapped up. Back to what? To him? If it keeps you safe, no. She stood abruptly. Absolutely not. You're not sacrificing yourself. Claire, we'll fight. We'll find another way. There is no other way. Holt has resources, people. He'll keep coming until... Then we take him down first. Her eyes blazed with something fierce and desperate. You said you were good at this. Prove it. Not by running, not by surrendering, by ending this. Ethan stared at her. You're asking me to kill him. I'm asking you to protect our family. However that needs to happen. The doctor arrived before Ethan could respond. Mid-60s, gray hair, expensive suit, even at this hour. He asked no questions, just set to work cleaning and stitching the wound with steady hands. You're lucky, he said. Another inch and it would have hit the artery. Luck had nothing to do with it, Ethan muttered. The doctor finished, packed his supplies. Keep it clean, change the dressing daily. If you develop a fever, call me immediately. Claire walked him out, returned with an envelope of cash lighter than it had been. How much? Ethan asked. Does it matter? I'm supposed to be the one protecting you, not costing you money. You're my husband. That means we protect each other. She sat beside him. So what's the plan? I don't have one yet. Then we make one. Together. He looked at her, really looked. This woman who'd built an empire through intelligence and strategy, who was facing down threats that would break most people, who refused to abandon him even when every rational choice said she should. You're terrifying, he said. I know. A small smile. It's why you married me. One of the reasons. The smile faded. Ethan, I need you to be honest. Can we win this? I don't know. That's not reassuring. You wanted honesty. She exhaled slowly. Okay. Then here's what we do. We gather intelligence. Find Holt's weak points, his operations, his people, and we dismantle them one piece at a time until there's nothing left. That could take weeks. We have 2 days. Then we work fast. She pulled out her laptop. You handle the tactical side. I'll handle the logistics. We'll divide and conquer. Ethan wanted to argue, wanted to shield her from this. But she was right. They needed each other. He spent the next few hours reaching out to old contacts, people he hadn't spoken to in years. Some hung up immediately. Others listened. A few offered information. Marcus Holt had been busy. Freelance operations across 3 continents, contractors hired through shell companies, money flowing from sources that didn't want scrutiny. He was running a private military operation funded by people who needed plausible deniability. Claire worked parallel tracks, tracing financial records, corporate connections. She found links between Holt's shell companies and one of her competitors, a rival firm that had been trying to acquire Vaughn Industries for years. "They're using him," she said, looking up from her screen. "The SEC investigation, the leaked information, all of it. They're trying to devalue my company so they can buy it cheap. And Holt gets paid to make it happen." Exactly. Which means he's not just coming after you. He's coming after everything. She closed the laptop. "We need to expose this. Go public. That'll escalate things." "Good. Let them know we're not hiding." Ethan considered it. Going public meant burning Holt's cover, making him vulnerable. But it also meant painting an even bigger target on themselves. "It's risky," he said. "Everything about this is risky. At least this way we control the narrative." She had a point. They spent the rest of the night building a case. Documents, financial records, recorded conversations, everything they'd gathered. Claire drafted a statement. Ethan reviewed it, suggested changes. By dawn, they had something solid. Claire scheduled a press conference for that afternoon, reached out to journalists she trusted, made sure the story would break wide. "Once this goes live," she said, "there's no taking it back." "I know. They'll come after us harder." "I know that too." She took his hand. "Then let's make sure we're ready." They woke Maya gently, told her they were going on a trip, somewhere safe, just for a few days. "Why?" she asked, still half asleep. "Because it's important," Ethan said. "Are we in trouble?" Claire smoothed her hair. "We're being careful, that's all." They packed quickly, essentials only, drove to a hotel downtown, registered under a false name, paid cash. The room was small but secure, high floor, good sightlines. Ethan did a sweep, checked for cameras, bugs, nothing. They were clean. "Stay here with Maya," he told Claire. "Don't leave unless it's an emergency." "Where are you going?" "To make sure Holt knows we're not backing down." "Ethan, I'll be back before the press conference, I promise." He kissed her, kissed Maya, left before either could argue. The address Ryland had given him was across town, an industrial park. Warehouse units leased to various businesses. One of them belonged to a shell company linked to Holt. Ethan approached carefully. Daylight made surveillance harder, but not impossible. He parked a block away, watched the entrance through binoculars. Movement. 2 men standing guard outside. Armed. Professional. He circled around, found a side entrance, disabled the lock quietly, slipped inside. The space was configured as a tactical operations center. Computers, maps, weapons, files stacked on tables. This was Holt's nerve center. Ethan moved through it methodically, photographing documents, copying hard drives, gathering evidence. Then he heard voices. 2 men entering, the guards from outside. Ethan ducked behind a desk, waited. "Holt wants this place cleared out by tonight," one of them said. "Why?" "Cole went public, press conference this afternoon. Boss says we need to relocate before the cops show up." "Think they'll find anything?" "Doesn't matter. We'll be gone." They started packing equipment, moving boxes. Ethan stayed hidden, waiting for an opening. One of the men stepped outside to load a vehicle. The other turned his back. Ethan moved, silent, fast, arm around the man's throat, pressure on the carotid. The man struggled, went limp. Ethan lowered him to the floor, zip-tied his wrists, gagged him. The second man returned. "Hey, where'd you—" Ethan hit him hard. Once. The man dropped. 2 minutes. Both neutralized. No shots fired. He finished gathering intel, planted a tracker on one of the equipment cases, left through the side entrance. Back in his car, he reviewed the photos. Financial records. Communication logs. Contracts with the rival firm Claire had identified. Everything they needed to prove the conspiracy. He texted Claire. "Got it. Heading back." Her response was immediate. "Press conference in 2 hours. Are you ready?" He wasn't sure anyone could be ready for what came next, but they were out of options. "Yeah." I'm ready. The hotel room felt smaller when he returned. Maya was watching cartoons. Claire was pacing, rehearsing her statement. How'd it go? She asked. We have everything we need. She nodded. Then let's end this. They left Maya with the security detail Claire had hired. Former Secret Service. People she trusted. Maya didn't want them to go. I'll be back soon, Ethan promised. You said that last time. And I came back. She hugged him tight. You better. The press conference was held at Vaughn Industries headquarters. Cameras everywhere. Journalists crowding the lobby. Claire stood at a podium, Ethan beside her. Together, she spoke clearly, calmly, detailed the conspiracy, named the rival firm, showed the evidence, explained how Marcus Holt had been hired to destroy her company and threaten her family. The room erupted in questions. She answered some, deflected others. My husband acted to protect innocent lives, she said, and now we're acting to protect the truth. This ends today. They left through a side exit. Security escorted them to a waiting car. But as they reached the vehicle, Ethan's instinct screamed. He grabbed Claire, pulled her down. The windshield exploded. Gunfire. From a rooftop across the street, security returned fire. Ethan shoved Claire behind the car. Stay down! Ethan, stay down! He drew his weapon, scanned for the shooter. There, muzzle flash, third floor. He fired 3 rounds. Suppressive. Gave security time to maneuver. Police sirens wailed in the distance. The shooter retreated. Ethan helped Claire to her feet. She was shaking but unhurt. Are you okay? No, but I will be. She gripped his arm. He's escalating. Yeah. This is only going to get worse, Shyam. I know. They were rushed inside, locked down. Rains arrived within minutes, furious. You went public without telling me? We didn't have time, Claire said. You could have been killed. We still can be. That's why we need your help. She handed him a drive. Everything's on here, financial records, communications, proof of conspiracy. Rains looked at the drive, at them. This is enough for warrants, for arrests. Then execute them, Ethan said, before Holt runs. I'll need time. We don't have time. He's already relocating. Moving assets. You move now or you lose him. Rains hesitated, then nodded. I'll fast-track it. But you two need to stay somewhere safe. Protective custody. No, Claire said. We stay visible. We don't hide. Mrs. Vaughn, if we hide, he wins. We stand our ground. Rains looked like he wanted to argue. Didn't. Fine. But you're getting a protective detail whether you like it or not. They agreed. That night, back in the hotel with Maya, Ethan couldn't sleep. He stood by the window, watching the street below, looking for threats. Claire joined him. You should rest. Can't. Because of Holt? Because I put you in this position. We put each other here. That's what partnerships are. He glanced at her. You could have walked away. Taken Maya. Divorced me. Started over. I could have. I didn't. Hito. Why? She was quiet for a moment, then, because walking away from hard things isn't who I am, and because I love you. Even the parts you tried to hide. Ethan felt something crack open in his chest. I don't deserve you. Probably not. But you're stuck with me anyway. She leaned against him. We're going to survive this, both of us. He wanted to believe her. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He almost didn't answer. Yeah? 36 hours left, Ghost. Holt's voice was cold. I saw your little press conference. Cute. Won't change anything. The cops are coming for you. Let them try. I've been running from better for years. A pause. But you made this personal. So now I'm making it personal too. Your daughter's school, Monroe Elementary, cute playground, big windows, easy access. Ethan's grip on the phone tightened. You go near her. I don't make threats, Ghost. I make promises. 36 hours. Then I stop playing nice. The line went dead. Ethan turned to Claire. We need to move Maya. Now. What happened? Holt knows where she goes to school. He's threatening her directly. Claire's face went pale. Where do we take her? Somewhere he can't find, somewhere off the grid. They woke Maya. Told her they were going on another trip. She was too tired to argue. Ethan made calls, old contacts, people who owed him favors. One finally came through, a safe house 2 hours north, isolated, secure. They drove through the night. Maya slept in the back seat. Claire kept checking the mirrors, looking for tails. "Are we going to be okay?" she asked quietly. Ethan didn't answer right away because he didn't know, didn't want to lie. "We're going to fight," he said finally, "and we're going to do everything we can." That's not an answer. It's the only one I have. The safe house was exactly as promised. Small cabin, woods on all sides, no neighbors for miles. Ethan did a perimeter check, set up motion sensors, secured entrances. Claire got Maya settled in bed. When she came back out, she looked exhausted. "What now?" she asked. "Now we wait for Rains to move, hope the warrants come through. And if they don't, then I go after Holt myself." "Ethan, it's the only way to end this. You know that." She did. He could see it in her eyes, the acceptance, the fear. "If you do this," she said, "you might not come back." "I'll come back." "You can't promise that. Watch me." She moved closer, kissed him, hard, desperate, like she was trying to memorize the feel of him. When she pulled away, her eyes were wet. "Don't you dare die on me." "I won't." "You better not." He held her until the shaking stopped, until they both believed the lies they were telling each other. 36 hours until Holt's deadline. Ethan intended to cut that time short. Dawn broke cold and gray over the safe house. Ethan hadn't slept. He'd spent the night monitoring the perimeter sensors, checking sight lines, running scenarios in his head. Each one ended badly. Claire found him on the porch, coffee in hand, staring into the woods. "You look terrible," she said. "Feel worse." She sat beside him. Maya asked why we're hiding. "What'd you tell her?" "That sometimes adults have to deal with complicated things. That we're keeping her safe." Claire sipped her coffee. "She's 7. She doesn't understand why her life got turned upside down." "Neither do I, half the time." "Yes, you do. You just wish you didn't." She set the mug down. "Rains called. The warrants came through. They're moving on Holt's operations this morning." Ethan's pulse quickened. "All of them?" 6 locations, coordinated raids, federal agents, local PD, the works. She looked at him. "He thinks they can get Holt." "Holt's not the type to get caught in a raid." "Maybe not, but it'll disrupt his network, force him into the open. Or make him desperate." Ethan stood. "Desperate men make reckless choices. So do desperate women." Claire rose to face him. "I'm going back to the city, to the office." "Claire, the board's calling an emergency meeting about the rival firm, about everything that's happened. I need to be there. It's too dangerous. So is hiding. If I don't show up, if I let fear control me, I lose the company anyway." Her jaw set. "I've worked too hard to let that happen." "Then I'm coming with you." "No, you're staying with Maya." "Claire, she needs one of us here, and you're better equipped to protect her if something goes wrong." She touched his face. "Besides, I'll have security. Rains promised a detail." Ethan wanted to argue, wanted to lock her in the cabin until this was over. But she was right. Maya needed protection, and Claire needed to fight her own battle. "Stay visible," he said. "Don't go anywhere alone." "I won't. And if anything feels wrong, anything, you call me immediately." "I will." She kissed him. "I love you." "Love you too." She left within the hour. Ethan watched her car disappear down the dirt road, every instinct screaming at him to follow. But he stayed, because Maya was still asleep inside, and protecting her mattered more than his fear. He spent the morning fortifying the cabin, double-checking locks, reviewing security footage from the perimeter cameras. Nothing moved except wildlife. Deer, squirrels, a hawk circling overhead. Maya woke just before 9. She padded into the kitchen in pajamas, hair tangled, clutching a stuffed rabbit. "Where's Mom?" "She had to work." "I thought we were hiding." "We are. She's not." Ethan poured cereal into a bowl. "Want breakfast?" "I want to go home." "I know, kiddo. Soon." "You keep saying that." "Because it's true." She climbed onto a chair, picked at her cereal. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "Are you scared?" He thought about lying, decided she deserved better. A little. Me too. He sat across from her. You know what helps when I'm scared? What? Remembering that being scared doesn't mean being weak. It means you're smart enough to know when something's dangerous. She considered this. Is someone trying to hurt us? I won't let that happen. But are they? Ethan exhaled slowly. Yeah, they are. Why? Because I made mistakes a long time ago, and some people don't forgive mistakes. Maya pushed cereal around her bowl. I make mistakes all the time. That's different. How? Your mistakes are things like forgetting homework or spilling juice. Mine were bigger. How much bigger? He didn't know how to answer that. How to explain to a 7-year-old that her father had once killed people for a living, that the blood on his hands wouldn't wash off, no matter how many years he spent making lunches and reading bedtime stories. Big enough that I'm still fixing them, he said finally. She seemed to accept this, finished her cereal, asked if she could watch cartoons. Ethan said yes. While she was distracted, he checked his phone. 3 missed calls from Rains. He stepped outside to call back. We got 4 out of 6 locations, Rains said without preamble. Seized weapons, documents, equipment, arrested 11 people. But not Holt. No, he wasn't at any of the sites. We're tracking his communications, but he's gone dark. Ethan's stomach tightened. What about the other 2 locations? Abandoned, cleared out before we arrived. Rains paused. Someone tipped him off. Who? We're investigating. But Cole, if Holt knows we're coming for him, he's going to escalate. Fast. I know. Where are you right now? Somewhere safe? That's not an answer. It's the only one you're getting. Rains sighed. Watch your back and keep your family close. Already doing both. He hung up. Stood in the cold morning air, thinking. Holt had been tipped off, which meant he had someone inside law enforcement, or inside Claire's company, or both. The enemy wasn't just in front of them anymore. It was everywhere. His phone buzzed. Claire. How'd the meeting go? Terrible. The board wants me to step down temporarily until the SEC investigation is resolved. Can they do that? If enough of them vote yes? Her voice was strained. There's a faction that thinks I'm a liability, that my connection to you is destroying the company. Maybe they're right. Don't do that. She exhaled sharply. I'm fighting this, but I need ammunition, proof that the rival firm orchestrated everything. We gave Rains the evidence. Legal proof takes time. I need something faster, something I can use today. Ethan thought about the tracker he'd planted on the equipment case at Holt's operations center. I might have something. Give me an hour. What are you going to do? Something stupid. Ethan. I'll call you back. He hung up before she could argue. Went inside. Maya was absorbed in her show. He hated what he was about to do. Hated leaving her, but if he didn't act now, Claire would lose everything. Maya, I need to run an errand. She looked up. You're leaving? Just for a little while. You'll stay here. Door's locked. Don't answer for anyone except me or Mom. I don't want to be alone. You won't be. I'll call someone to come stay with you. He contacted the security detail Claire had hired. Former Secret Service, a woman named Torres. She arrived within 20 minutes, professional and competent. Ethan briefed her quickly. No one gets near this cabin. Anyone approaches, you call me immediately. Understood. He knelt in front of Maya. Torres is going to stay with you. She's good at her job. You'll be safe. Promise? Promise. He hugged her tight. I'll be back soon. That's what Mom said. And she came back, right? Not yet. Fair point. He left before he could second-guess himself. The tracker app showed Holt's equipment case moving, east, toward the industrial district on the edge of the city. Ethan drove fast. Too fast. But time was collapsing and he needed answers. The tracker led him to a shipping facility. Warehouses and loading docks, trucks coming and going, easy to hide in plain sight. He parked a block away, approached on foot. The tracker pinged from inside one of the larger warehouses. Ethan circled the building, found a side entrance, picked the lock, slipped inside. The space was enormous, containers stacked high, forklifts moving between rows, workers in coveralls, normal operation. Except Ethan knew what normal looked like when it was covering something else. He moved through the shadows, staying low, avoiding sight lines. The tracker led him deeper into the warehouse, to a section cordoned off with chain-link fencing. Guards at the gate, armed but trying not to look it. Ethan watched from behind a container, counted 4 guards, 2 inside the fence, 2 outside. Beyond them, equipment cases, computers, satellite gear, a mobile operations center. And standing in the middle of it all was Marcus Holt. He was on a phone, gesturing, giving orders. Even from a distance, Ethan could see the tension in his movements. The raids had rattled him. Good. Ethan pulled out his phone, started recording, video of Holt, the equipment, the guards, everything. Then one of the guards looked his direction. Ethan froze. The guard squinted, took a step forward. "Hey, who's there?" Ethan ran. Shouts behind him. Footsteps. He weaved between containers, heading for the exit. A bullet cracked past his head. He ducked, kept moving. More gunfire. They weren't trying to contain him. They were trying to kill him. He burst through the side door, sprinted for his car, heard engines starting behind him. They were giving chase. He reached his car, threw himself inside, started the engine. Tires screamed as he peeled out. In the rearview mirror, 2 SUVs followed. Black. Tinted windows, closing fast. Ethan floored it, weaving through traffic. Running lights. The SUVs matched his every move. A bullet shattered his rear window. Glass exploded across the back seat. He swerved hard, cut through an alley, too narrow for the SUVs. They tried anyway. One clipped a dumpster, spun out. The other kept coming. Ethan emerged onto a main road. Traffic was heavy. He used it as cover, cutting between cars. The SUV followed, ramming vehicles aside. Up ahead, construction. Orange cones, barriers, a gap in the traffic pattern. Ethan saw the opening, took it, jumped the median, cut across opposing lanes, horns blared, brakes squealed, but he made it through. The SUV tried to follow. Didn't make it, T-boned by a delivery truck. Ethan kept driving, didn't slow down until he was miles away, pulled into a parking garage, checked for damage. The car was shot up, useless. But he had the video. He sent it to Claire, then to Rains, then to 3 journalists he trusted. Within 10 minutes, his phone was ringing, Claire first. What the hell was that? Evidence. Use it. You could have been killed. But I wasn't. Show the board. Show them Holt's still operating, that the rival firm is complicit. Ethan. Do it. Before they vote. He hung up. Rains called next. Where did you get this footage? Does it matter? Yeah, it does. If you obtained it illegally, I was on public property, filming something suspicious, perfectly legal. Rains didn't sound convinced. We're moving on that location now. If Holt's still there, he won't be. He's too smart. Ethan paused. But you might catch some of his people, and they might talk. Maybe. But Cole, you need to stop playing vigilante. You're going to get yourself killed. Probably, but not today. He ended the call, abandoned the car, caught a cab back toward the safe house. Halfway there, his phone rang again. Unknown number, he answered. Yeah? You're persistent. I'll give you that. Holt's voice was calm. Too calm. But you just made a critical mistake. Ethan's blood went cold. What are you talking about? You left your daughter at a cabin in the woods. Nice place, remote, easy to find once you know where to look. No, you're lying. Am I? Because I'm looking at it right now. Pretty little thing, playing with a stuffed rabbit. Guard at the door. Only one guard, though, not much of a challenge. Ethan's heart stopped. If you touch her, relax, Ghost. I'm not a monster. I don't hurt kids. A pause. Unless you force my hand, you have 1 hour. Come to me. Alone. Unarmed. Or I stop being polite. Where? Holt gave an address, downtown. An abandoned office building scheduled for demolition. 1 hour. Don't be late. The line went dead. Ethan stared at the phone. His hands were shaking. Not from fear, from rage. He called Torres. Is Maya okay? Yeah, she's fine. Why? Lock down. Now. No one in or out. I'm on my way. What's happening? Just do it. He hung up, called Claire. I need you to get to the safe house. Now. What's wrong? Holt knows where we are. He's threatening Maya. Oh my God, I'm leaving now. Bring security, as many people as you can. I will. Ethan, what are you going to do? What I should have done from the start. Don't, please. We'll handle this together. There's no time. Just get to Maya. Keep her safe. Ethan, he hung up, flagged another cab, gave the driver the address Holt had provided. The building loomed ahead, 30 stories of concrete and broken windows. Condemned, waiting for demolition. Ethan paid the driver, got out, stared up at the structure. This was a trap, obviously. Holt would have men inside, weapons, advantages. But Ethan didn't care. Because if there was even a chance Holt was bluffing, if Maya was really safe, he needed to end this here. Now. He entered through this main lobby. Debris everywhere, graffiti on the walls, the smell of mold and decay. Top floor, ghost, Holt's voice echoed from somewhere above. Speakers. He was watching. Ethan found the stairs, started climbing. His shoulder ached from the bullet wound. His legs burned, but he kept moving. 10 floors, 20, 30. The top floor was gutted, open space. No walls, just support columns and exposed rebar. Windows blown out, wind howling through. And in the center, Marcus Holt. He stood alone. No guards, no weapons visible. You came, Holt said. I'm impressed. Where's my daughter? Safe. For now, like I said, I don't hurt kids. He gestured around. This is just you and me. The way it should have been from the start. Ethan moved closer. What do you want? I want you to stop pretending. Stop hiding behind your little family. Accept what you are. I know what I am. Do you? Because from where I'm standing, you're still lying to yourself. Holt circled slowly. You think you're a good man, a father, a husband, but good men don't have our body count. I never said I was good. Then what are you? Ethan thought about Maya, about Claire, about the life he'd built from wreckage. I'm someone trying to do better. Holt laughed, bitter. There is no better for people like us, just different flavors of bad. You're wrong. Am I? Then why are you here? Why didn't you call the cops? Why didn't you trust the system? Holt stopped circling. Because you know the truth. The only way to stop me is to kill me. And you can't do that if you're pretending to be someone you're not. Ethan's hand moved toward the weapon concealed at his back. He'd lied about coming unarmed. There it is, Holt said. The real ghost. The one who doesn't hesitate. This isn't who I am anymore. It's exactly who you are. You just hide it better. Ethan drew the weapon, aimed. Last chance. Call off your people. Leave my family alone. Or what? You'll kill me? Holt smiled. Do it. Prove me right. Show your daughter what her father really is. My daughter's not here. Isn't she? Holt gestured to the windows. Look down. Ethan didn't move. Look, down. Against his better judgment, Ethan glanced toward the street below. A car, parked across from the building. He couldn't see inside, but he knew. She's not there, Ethan said. You sure about that? He wasn't, and Holt knew it. Here's the deal, Holt said. You put the gun down, walk away, join my operation, and your family stays safe. Or you pull that trigger, kill me, and my people have orders to finish what I started. You're bluffing. Am I? Ethan's finger tightened on the trigger. This was it. The choice. Kill Holt and maybe doom his family, or surrender and become the weapon Holt wanted. Neither was acceptable, so he chose option 3. He lowered the weapon. Okay, you win. Holt's smile widened. Smart choice. On one condition. You're not exactly in a position to negotiate. I am if you want me functional. If you want Ghost, not some broken version who resents being forced. Holt considered this. What's the condition? Proof that my family's safe. Not just your word, actual proof. Fine. I'll arrange a call. You can hear your wife's voice. Confirm your daughter's okay. And then? Then you come with me. No more playing house. No more lies. Ethan nodded slowly, hating every second, but buying time. Holt pulled out a phone, dialed, waited. Put her on, he said to whoever answered. Then he held the phone out to Ethan. Ethan took it. Claire? Ethan. Her voice was frantic. Don't do whatever he's asking. We're fine. Maya's fine. We're at the safe house with security. Torres called in backup. There's no one here but us. Relief and fury warred in Ethan's chest. You're sure? Positive. It was a bluff. He's trying to manipulate you. Ethan looked at Holt. She says you're lying. Holt shrugged. Worth a shot. Not really. Ethan raised the weapon again. Now we do this my way. Which is? You surrender. Face trial. Let the system handle it. And if I don't? Then I put you down right here. Holt's expression hardened. You won't. Try me. You're not a killer anymore, Ghost. You proved that when you walked away from Damascus, when you couldn't pull the trigger on a kid. You're broken. Maybe, but I'm still functional enough for this. Holt moved fast. Faster than Ethan expected. Pulled a concealed weapon. Fired. Ethan dove. The bullet missed. He returned fire. Caught Holt in the shoulder. Holt stumbled. Fired again. Wild. Desperate. Ethan advanced, kicked the weapon away, stood over him. Holt clutched his shoulder, blood seeping between his fingers. Do it. Prove me right. Ethan stared down at him. This man who'd tormented his family, who'd threatened his daughter, who represented everything Ethan had tried to leave behind. It would be easy. One shot, over. But Claire's voice echoed in his head. We're fine. Maya's fine. They were safe, which meant Ethan didn't have to be a killer today. He lowered the weapon. No. What? I'm not proving you right. I'm proving you wrong. He pulled out his phone, called Rains. I've got Holt. Top floor of the Meridian building. He's wounded. Send medics and arrest teams. Holt laughed. Wet. Pained. You think this is over? There's always someone else, another contract, another enemy. Maybe, but that's tomorrow's problem. Sirens wailed in the distance, growing louder. Ethan kept the weapon trained on Holt until police flooded the building. Rains arrived with tactical teams, paramedics, the whole circus. You shot him, Rains said, surveying the scene. Self-defense. That what we're calling it? Unless you've got a better story. Rains sighed. We'll sort it out. But Cole, you're done playing cowboy. Understand? Yeah, I understand. They took Holt away on a stretcher, cuffed and under guard. He'd survive. Face trial. Spend the rest of his life in a cell. It was over. Ethan walked out of the building into cold afternoon light. His phone rang immediately. Claire. Are you okay? Yeah, it's done. Holt? In custody. Wounded but alive. She exhaled shakily. Thank you. For what? For coming back. For not becoming what he wanted you to be. Ethan leaned against a wall, exhausted. I wanted to. For a second there, I really wanted to. But you didn't. That's what matters. Is it? Yes. Because you chose us. You chose to be the man we need, not the man you used to be. Ethan closed his eyes. I'm coming home. We'll be waiting. He hung up, started walking, away from the building, away from the sirens, toward whatever came next. Behind him, the past smoldered, but ahead, his family waited. And for the first time in days, that felt like enough. The drive back to the safe house took 2 hours, but it felt longer. Ethan's hands wouldn't stop shaking. Not from fear, from the aftermath, the adrenaline crash, the weight of what had almost happened settling into his bones. He'd come within a trigger pull of becoming exactly what Holt had accused him of being. The woods appeared through the windshield, familiar and dark. He pulled up to the cabin just as dusk was painting the sky in shades of bruise. Security vehicles were parked outside. Torres stood on the porch, alert but relaxed. All clear? Ethan asked as he climbed out. Quiet all afternoon. No movement except wildlife. Good. Thank you. She nodded and stepped aside. Inside, Maya was curled on the couch with her rabbit watching a movie. Claire sat beside her, laptop open but ignored. When the door opened, Claire's head snapped up. Relief flooded her features. She stood quickly, crossed to him. Didn't say anything, just pulled him into a hug that felt like an anchor. It's really over, she whispered against his shoulder. Yeah, it's over. Maya looked up from the couch. Dad? He pulled away from Claire, moved to his daughter, knelt in front of her. Hey, kiddo. Are the bad guys gone? Yeah, they're gone. Forever? He wanted to say yes, wanted to promise her a world without danger, but he'd lied enough. I can't promise forever. But they're not coming back, not these ones. She studied his face with that unnerving 7-year-old perception. Then she threw her arms around his neck. I was scared you wouldn't come back. His throat tightened. I'll always come back. You promise? I promise. She held on for a long moment, then released him, returned to her movie like nothing had happened. Kids were resilient that way, or maybe just better at pretending. Claire touched his arm. We should talk. They stepped outside. The air was cold, carrying the scent of pine and earth. Security moved in the distance, professional and invisible. Rains called, Claire said. They arrested 8 more people connected to Holt's network, seized assets, froze accounts. The whole operation's collapsing. What about the rival firm? Under investigation. The evidence you gathered tied them directly to the conspiracy. Their CEO resigned this morning, legals predicting criminal charges. She leaned against the porch railing. The board voted. I'm staying on as CEO. That's good. Is it? Because half of them only voted yes because they're terrified of the media backlash if they force me out now. She looked at him. My company's damaged. My reputation's compromised. And it's going to take years to rebuild trust. I'm sorry. Don't be. I made my choice. I'd make it again. She reached for his hand. But Ethan, we need to talk about what comes next. What do you mean? I mean, you can't keep living like you're waiting for the next threat, like every shadow's hiding an enemy. That's how I stayed alive. That's how Ghost stayed alive. You're not him anymore. Or you don't have to be. He wanted to believe her, but Holt's words echoed, you don't get to pretend. And the truth was, part of him had enjoyed it, the clarity, the purpose, the simplicity of violence when words failed. I don't know how to turn it off, he admitted. Then we figure it out. Together. She squeezed his hand. But first we go home. Not to hide, not to recover, just to live. Home. The word felt foreign and familiar at once. They stayed at the cabin one more night, let Maya sleep peacefully, let themselves breathe. In the morning, they packed up, said goodbye to Torres and the security team, drove back to the city under clear skies. The house looked exactly as they'd left it. Normal. Untouched. Like the last week had been a nightmare that evaporated in daylight. Maya ran inside, immediately claiming her room, her toys, her space. Claire started making calls, diving back into the work that had been piling up. And Ethan stood in the kitchen, staring at the counter where he'd cut strawberries a lifetime ago. His phone rang. Rains. You got a minute? Yeah. Federal prosecutor wants a statement about everything. Damascus. Your service record. The whole history. Ethan's stomach tightened. Why? Because Holt's lawyer is trying to paint you as a criminal, arguing that his actions were defensive, that you're the real threat. That's insane. Doesn't matter. They're building a narrative, and we need to counter it. Rains paused. Which means you coming clean, officially, on record. I can't do that. You don't have a choice. Not if you want Holt to go away for good. Ethan thought about Maya, about Claire, about the life they were trying to rebuild. Okay, set it up. The deposition happened 3 days later, federal building downtown, lawyers everywhere, recording devices, court reporter, the whole machinery of justice grinding into motion. Ethan sat across from a prosecutor named Hendricks, mid-40s, sharp suit, sharper eyes. Let's start at the beginning, Hendricks said. Your military service. Ethan took a breath, began talking. He told them about recruitment, training, deployments that didn't officially exist, missions that erased themselves from paperwork. He talked about targets and objectives and the cold calculus of acceptable losses. He talked about Damascus. The room went very quiet when he described the kid. 14 years old, holding a phone, orders to eliminate, the decision to walk away. You disobeyed a direct order, Hendricks said. Yes. Knowing it would compromise the mission. Yes. Why? Ethan met his gaze. Because I couldn't pull the trigger on a child. Because some lines, once you cross them, you don't come back from. And you think that makes you better than Holt? No. It makes me different. Maybe not better, just different. Hendricks made notes. After Damascus, you left the program. I was debriefed, cleared, given a new identity, and told to disappear. Did you maintain contact with anyone from your unit? No. Did you engage in any illegal activities after leaving? No. Did you know Marcus Holt was alive? Not until he contacted me. The questions continued for hours, dissecting every decision, every choice. Ethan answered honestly, because lies would only make it worse, and because part of him was tired of hiding. When it finally ended, Hendricks closed his folder. Thank you for your cooperation. We'll be in touch. Ethan left feeling hollowed out, exposed, like he'd just stripped naked in front of strangers. Claire was waiting in the lobby. How'd it go? I don't know. Hard to tell. Did you tell them everything? Yeah, everything that mattered. She took his hand. Then that's all you can do. They walked out together into afternoon sunlight. The world kept moving around them, indifferent to the weight they carried. That night, Maya asked if they could have a normal dinner. What's a normal dinner? Claire asked. You know, where we all sit together and talk about boring stuff. Ethan smiled despite himself. What kind of boring stuff? Like school and work. And what's for dessert? So they did. Ordered pizza. Sat around the kitchen table. Maya talked about a project she was working on involving volcanoes and glitter. Claire talked about a new client she'd landed. Ethan talked about needing to fix the loose hinge on the bathroom door. Normal stuff, boring stuff. The kind of life that felt impossible a week ago. After Maya went to bed, Ethan and Claire sat on the couch. Not talking, just existing in the same space. I got an email today, Claire said finally, from a journalist. Wants to write a book about what happened. What'd you tell them? I said no. Good. But Ethan, people are going to want answers. They're going to dig into your past, into who you were. Let them. I'm done hiding. She looked at him. You mean that? Yeah, hiding didn't protect us. Maybe honesty will. Or maybe it'll just give them ammunition. Maybe, but I'd rather be honest and hated than fake and afraid. She leaned against him. When did you get so brave? I'm not brave. I'm just tired of pretending. The following week, the media storm intensified. News outlets ran stories, analysis pieces, opinion columns debating whether Ethan was a hero or a danger. Social media exploded with hot takes. Some called him a patriot. Others called him a killer. Most just wanted to know more. Ethan ignored it, focused on the things he could control, fixed the bathroom hinge, helped Maya with her volcano project. Went to parent-teacher conferences. Showed up for Claire's company events. He lived. 3 weeks after Holt's arrest, Raines called with news. Holt took a plea deal, conspiracy, weapons charges, assault. He's looking at 25 years minimum. Ethan felt something loosen in his chest. What about his network? Dismantled. The people we arrested are cooperating, giving up names, locations. The whole operation's bleeding out. And the rival firm? Indictments came down yesterday. CEO, CFO, and 3 board members. They're done. It was over. Actually, over. Thank you, Ethan said. Don't thank me. You did the work. I just cleaned up after. Raines paused. For what it's worth, Cole, you made the right call. Not killing him, letting the system work. Doesn't always feel right. Rarely does, but it's still right. They hung up. Ethan stood in the kitchen, holding the phone, feeling the weight of finished things. Claire came up behind him. Good news? Yeah, Holt took a plea. 25 years. She exhaled slowly. So it's really over. Really over. She wrapped her arms around him from behind. What are you thinking about? How strange it is. That we won. That we're still standing. Is it strange? Or is it just what happens when you fight for the things that matter? He turned to face her. I don't know if I'd call this winning. We survived. That's not the same thing. Isn't it? We're here, together. Maya's safe. The company's recovering. We made it through hell and came out the other side. She touched his face. That's a win in my book. Maybe she was right. Maybe survival was its own kind of victory. That weekend, they took Maya to the plaza. The same one where everything started. It had reopened after the investigation concluded. People milled around the fountain, buying pretzels, living their lives. Maya ran ahead, throwing pennies, making wishes. Claire slipped her hand into Ethan's. You okay? Yeah, just weird being back here. Good weird or bad weird? I don't know yet. They watched Maya laugh at something only she understood. Watched normal people doing normal things. Watched the world continue like nothing had happened. Can I tell you something? Claire said. Always. I was terrified the whole time, every day, every decision. I was so scared we'd lose everything. But we didn't. No, we didn't. But I realized something. She looked at him. The things I was most afraid of losing, you, Maya, our family, those are the only things that actually matter. The company, the reputation, the success. None of that means anything if I don't have you two. Ethan squeezed her hand. You're not getting rid of us. Good, because I'm not done needing you yet. Maya ran back, breathless. Can we get ice cream? It's 40 degrees outside, Claire said. So? Ethan laughed. Ice cream it is. They walked together toward the ice cream stand, a small family in a big world, imperfect and scarred, and still standing. A month later, Ethan made a decision. He reached out to a veteran support organization, started talking to other people who'd left service and struggled to adjust, people who understood what it meant to carry weight no one else could see. It wasn't therapy, it wasn't confession, it was just talking, sharing, realizing he wasn't alone. One night, after a group session, a younger guy approached him, early 20s, still wearing the invisible armor. You're that guy, from the plaza. Ethan nodded. Yeah. I saw the video. What you did. That was insane. That was instinct. You ever regret it? Going public like that? Ethan thought about it, about everything that had happened since, the chaos, the danger, the exposure. No, he said finally, because hiding didn't make me safer. It just made me smaller. The kid absorbed this. I don't know how to not be what I was. Neither do I. But I'm learning that maybe we don't have to stop being what we were. We just have to find new ways to be it. What's that mean? Means you were trained to protect people, to solve problems, to stand when others run. That doesn't go away just because you're not in uniform anymore. Ethan met his eyes. You just find different people to protect, different problems to solve, different reasons to stand. The kid nodded slowly. Thanks, man. Anytime. Driving home, Ethan thought about that conversation, about what he'd said, and realized he believed it. He wasn't Ghost anymore. But he wasn't just a dad playing pretend either. He was something in between. Someone who'd done terrible things and good things, and was still figuring out how to balance the weight of both. That night, Maya asked him to read her a bedtime story. He picked up the book she handed him, settled into the chair beside her bed. Dad? Yeah? Are you happy? The question caught him off guard. What makes you ask that? You seem different since everything happened. Different how? She shrugged. Less quiet, like you're not hiding anymore. Out of the mouths of 7-year-olds. I think I am happy, he said. Or at least, I'm working on it. Good. Because I like it when you're happy. Me too, kiddo. Me too. He read her the story, tucked her in, turned off the light. In the hallway, Claire was waiting. She's perceptive, she said. Too perceptive. She gets it from me? Claire smiled. Come to bed. You look exhausted. He was, bone-deep tired in a way sleep wouldn't fix, but it was a different kind of tired than before, not the exhaustion of hiding, just the normal fatigue of living. They lay in bed, lights off, listening to the house settle. Ethan? Do you ever think about what would have happened if you'd just let those men go? At the plaza? He'd thought about it. Many times. Yeah. And? People would have died. Maybe not right away, but eventually, and I would have lived with knowing I could have stopped it. So you don't regret it. I regret the consequences, the chaos, what it put you and Maya through, but I don't regret acting. She was quiet for a moment. I'm proud of you, for all of it, for choosing to fight, for choosing us. I'll always choose us. I know. That's what makes this work. Sleep found them eventually, Not perfect, not easy, but together. 6 months passed. Claire's company recovered. Slowly, painfully, but it recovered. New clients, new projects. The board stabilized. Trust rebuilt one cautious step at a time. Ethan found work consulting for security firms, using his experience legally, ethically, helping organizations protect themselves without compromising their values. It wasn't glamorous, but it was honest. Maya started third grade, made new friends, stopped asking about the bad guys, moved forward the way only children can. They settled into a rhythm, not the life they'd had before. Something different, something harder, but also something real. One evening, Ethan got a letter from Holt. He almost threw it away without reading, but curiosity won. The letter was short, handwritten, no apology, no excuse, just 2 sentences. You were right. There are some lines you don't cross. Ethan read it twice, then burned it in the fireplace. Claire found him staring at the flames. What was that? Nothing important. She didn't push. Later, lying in bed again, she asked a different question. Do you think we're different now, as people? Yeah, I think we are. Better or worse? Stronger. Maybe not better, just stronger. I can live with that. So could he. Because that's what this had all been about. Not becoming perfect, not erasing the past, just surviving it, learning from it, carrying it forward without letting it crush them. They'd been tested, broken, rebuilt, and somehow, against all odds, they'd come through it together. That was worth something, maybe worth everything. Maya's voice carried from her room. Bad dream. Ethan got up, went to her, sat on the edge of her bed in the dark. You okay? I dreamed the bad guys came back. They're not coming back. How do you know? Because I won't let them, and neither will your mom, and you're tougher than you think. She considered this. Am I tough like you? Tougher. Really? Really? You know why? Why? Because you're not afraid to feel things. To be scared and sad and happy all at once. That takes more courage than anything I ever did. She smiled in the darkness. You're weird, Dad. Yeah, I know. She fell back asleep quickly. Kids were resilient that way. Ethan returned to bed. Claire was still awake. Everything okay? Yeah, just bad dreams. She gets those from you. Probably. They lay in comfortable silence. Then Claire said, We're going to be okay, aren't we? And this time Ethan believed it. Yeah, we're going to be okay. Because they'd already survived the worst. They'd faced enemies external and internal. They'd been tested by violence and fear and doubt. And they'd chosen each other. Every single time. That was the lesson in all of this. Not that love conquers all. Not that good always wins. But that the choice to stay, to fight, to build something worth protecting, that choice mattered more than any victory. They were imperfect, scarred, carrying weight that would never fully lift. But they were together, and in the end that was the only thing that counted. Outside, the city hummed, life continued, the world turned, indifferent to their small struggles and smaller triumphs. But inside these walls, in this imperfect home with this imperfect family, Ethan Cole had found something he'd never had as Ghost. He'd found peace. Not the absence of conflict, not the erasure of the past, just the quiet knowledge that he was where he belonged, doing what mattered, with people who saw him, all of him, and stayed anyway. That was enough. It had always been enough. He just hadn't known it until now.